Good day. Okay, I'm here in Tampa, Florida. I've been doing too many videos since if you didn't know, I'm visiting in the U.S. And I'll be back to the Philippines in about a month or so. And I'll start doing regular videos again. I have put out one video since I've been here, and it was concerning a grocery store, basically an Asian grocery store with some Filipino products. Then also, I've been doing quite a few shorts when I can, especially my food shorts. I will tell you, I've got a few spots I'm gonna try to get to, and I'll get those videos out as well. One is a very good Filipino restaurant, so we'll see how that goes. What I want to do, I thought I'd do a video. There's a couple I'm going to do, and they're more talk related videos. The first one I'm going to do is, since I've been in the U.S. now about a month, I want to kind of talk about the things. I've lived in the Philippines now 4 years, nonstop for the last 3 years. I did come back up the first year for a month or so, and then I went back for 3 solid years. But now that I've been back, there's a lot of things I miss about the U.S. and I like. I think the biggest thing that bothers me is the prices. Before I moved over there, I was living in Florida, and prices were not bad. I mean, some things were, but I noticed a lot of things are much more expensive, especially if you try to eat out. Uh, you know, Gas is higher, but is much higher in California, which I visited briefly, and Las Vegas. Oklahoma was reasonable. Florida is reasonable right now, but South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia were the cheapest, especially South Carolina. Those are kind of things, and I got used over in the Philippines of paying when I used to visit there about paying on average, $4 to $5 a gallon was just what you paid when I went on vacation. Since I moved there, it's been over four most of the time, $4 to $5 a gallon. Right before I left, late May, prices did come down a little bit, which a little bit of relief. But I find things, the gas compared to there, much cheaper here. Food prices, especially ordering out, eating out, much cheaper in the Philippines, even for Western places. Over here, it's hard to use Uber Eats or any of those other apps because they are very expensive. If you get let's say if you order something as simple as $10, you're going to pay $18, $20. So price of convenience, I guess, but it's a little rich for me after being in the Philippines. So that's one a big difference. As far as traffic goes, traffic has always been very bad to me in the Philippines. Probably outside of Puerto Rico, it's the worst place I've ever driven for traffic. It's chaos. There's so many different things on the road, which I've done a video about this before. It's crazy. And now I came back. I've driven since I've been here. I've driven in LA. I drove from LA to Vegas. And then, so I drove that. And then when I got to Florida, I've driven already up the East Coast to North Carolina. I've came back. I've driven around the Tampa area, going to the North Coast soon, up on the Panhandle to Destin, but then back to Tampa. I've got to go to North Carolina again. But even driving in LA, I thought it was easy compared to driving in Manila. It just I thought LA was chaos and I hated it, but it was actually much tamer than Manila, or anywhere in the Philippines, in my opinion. And then I went to Oklahoma, and people there were saying, "Oh, there's traffic." I said, "This is nothing. This is like being out in the country." And then in Tampa, they got quite a bit of traffic, but you can avoid a lot of it if you don't have to go out during rush hour. And I'm not working, so it's easy for me to avoid the traffic and go back roads and those sort of thing. I got a pretty good GPS using it. It's been route me around even at traffic times around the Tampa area. Trying to think, there. I know I went to eat Filipino food. It was outside the Asian restaurant where I did this video. I mean, this Asian store, I should say. And we ate it, and for what we ordered, it would have been, I don't know, 10, no more than $15 in the Philippines. And it costed us $53. Outrageous, and I that's for Filipino food. And I was like, can't do this too much. So we've been cooking more at home if we want Filipino food or Western food. It's a lot more expensive eating out here. You can do happy hours and those things, and it's pretty reasonable, and you can get some good deals. So that's why I recommend, if you come back to the States, just try to find, your good deals, your happy hours. Otherwise, it is much cheaper to eat at home. And that's what we've been doing more than anything. But those are some differences. Weather-wise, I left at a good time. Since I left, pretty much it's been rainy season and a lot of rain. I know in the Longapo area where I'm from, a lot of rain. And then also over here, it's been raining. It's been hot, but the rain normally starts late afternoon, early evening, and it's not too bad. We had a couple hard rains, but nothing like I usually see in the Philippines. Luckily, there's been no hurricanes yet over here. I know in the Philippines, I don't think they've had any either, but it's it's been raining quite a bit from what I can see and what people have told me over there. Over here, I liked it. Just a couple days ago, I was out. It had rained. Started about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Remained cloudy. Kind of had a couple more showers. Kept things really cool, and I prefer it. That's one of the reasons I do like rainy season in the Philippines. Keeps things cooler. Now I don't like it to rain all day every day, which I've seen it do for weeks on end. But I do like the rain to cool things off. It's perfect here when it does that. It really, really makes things cooler. Sometimes it'll get more humid, but I don't even think the heat, even though it's been, probably low 90s for the high, not including the heat index, it still feels cooler to me after going through, the 3 months of summer in the Philippines and then coming here. So that's just what I've noticed. But like I said, the biggest things I do like I said, the organization of driving here in the U.S. much better. That's where a lot of my anxiety comes, is from driving in the Philippines. If I don't drive, everything's much better for me. But when I drive, yeah, it's about to lose my mind there. It's just so bad. But so I like that here. The roads, for the most part, where I've been, have been very good here compared to some in the Philippines. Even though you can go through some states and they're not the best of roads, but overall, much better. There's just things in general, we've gone and toured places. It's very nice, very nice. And, you can only find certain things like that in the Philippines. We'll say Manila, BGC, it's pretty nice. It's kind of organized, everything like that. That's just an example I'm throwing out. But over here, there's many places like that. You do have a lot of beautiful beaches in the Philippines, and especially down south. I don't really care for the ones where I live, unless you go up to Zambales. Other than that, down in the actual Subic Bay area, I don't prefer that. But over here, there are many good beaches. California I never liked because the water's too cold. coming down from Alaska. The water, it's just very cold. But the beaches are nice. Over here in Florida, it's great. You get the best of both worlds. You got beautiful beaches, such around here is Clearwater Beach, whereas over in the Philippines, you don't really see quite those type of beaches. Like I said, don't get me wrong. I found a lot of pretty beaches in the Philippines. Look at Palawan, go to El Nido, all those beautiful areas. But I would say I really like the ones in Vietnam. Probably the best in Thailand. But like I said, the beaches here in the U.S., you can find some really good ones. Like I said, Clearwater Beach is very nice here in the Tampa area. Getting ready to go to Destin, Florida on the Panhandle. Beautiful emerald water. It's just a beautiful area. Very nice. So we'll see as I continue to compare. Housing prices are another thing. Philippines, you know, you can get a really nice place, many bedrooms, whether it be three or four, many bathrooms for a really reasonable price. If you stay in somewhere like SBMA in Olongapo, no base, you're going to pay anywhere from 1,000, 1,500 like that. You may be able to find some 600, 700, but they keep going up. A lot of people's remodeling places. Over here, you're just not going to find that. You're going to have an older home, and you're paying almost 2,000. If you're renting a nice apartment or a nice house, you're going to be paying quite a bit more than that. Maybe as much as 3,000 or more in Florida here. That's a big difference. The housing's, of course, much cheaper over in the Philippines, especially where I'm talking about the Olongapo area, versus here in the U.S. About anywhere I've been. We don't even want to talk about California. Most people know it's extravagant there. The gas prices are much higher than anywhere else I've been. It's still the same today. The housing prices are through the roof. But you can find some good places to rent or buy here. I know I was just doing some research, and in the Tampa area, got this new area called Wesley Chapel. It's just above. New Tampa was a good area before new, but it got crowded. Now Wesley Chapel's area, it's very nice. A lot of things are new, and I looked there. Most of the houses there run about in the mid 400,000. So say 450. Well, 400 to 500. If you go out to the beach, Clearwater, St. Pete Beach, then they're about the mid 300s. But the thing about that, you're going to have good insurance there, which is not cheap because of the storms. The storm's going to hit you more there than it would be inland. You talk about Wesley Chapel, is a good 30 minutes inland. And Clearwater and St. Pete Beach, of course, they're on the water. So big difference. But that's kind of the prices I've seen over here. So like I said, the biggest things, again, for the Philippines, food much cheaper. If you eat local, you can eat real cheap. Same in Vietnam, same in Thailand. If you want to try to eat Western, you're going to pay more. But still, eating Western in the Philippines, we can say McDonald's, we can say Chili's. It doesn't matter. It's much cheaper eating those places in the Philippines, in Manila, than it is most places here, unless you get a good deal at happy hour. There's a place close by that had Monday burgers, $7.99, $8 burgers with fries. Not a bad deal. They got deals like that every day. Happy hours run for your basic beer, from $2.50 to $3.50, we'll say, for a pint or bottle of beer. So that's kind of the prices here. But overall, you go out, you're gonna pay. It's like I said, Philippines is cheaper in that. Philippines cheaper in housing. But if you're looking, when it comes to driving, I don't recommend people driving in Philippines. Unless you're really a calm person, you don't get road rage easy, then okay. But me personally, that's what I recommend. I do it out of necessity a lot, but I much like driving here in the U.S. anywhere. Like I said, even L.A. than I do the Philippines. But that's just some of my initial thoughts. I'm gonna do another video later time. Like I said, I've been here. I think I left the Philippines 25 May. It's now the 24th of June, so almost about a month. And I've gone from LA, San Diego, back to LA, Las Vegas, Oklahoma, Tampa, up in the Charlotte area of North Carolina, back down to Tampa, and then I'm going to be going, like I said, to the Panhandle, back up North Carolina, and then most of the rest of the time here will be in the Tampa area before I head back to LA. We're going to LA for about 10 days, see family and friends, down to San Diego, and then we'll be back in the Philippines. But that's kind of what's going on. But I appreciate you watching my videos. Sorry I haven't put them out. It's just kind of harder here when my channel's about the Philippines and I'm in the U.S. But I'm going to bring you those Philippine things when I can. Like I said, a really good restaurant I want to bring you here from Tampa. I know they advertise. I've seen them advertise in the Philippines on social media and stuff. And yeah, they're very popular, very good ratings here. So I want to check that out and anything else I can find. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoy my videos. And that's just some of my thoughts, random thoughts on after living in the Philippines a few years, coming back to the States for a couple month visit, just my thoughts. But again, take care always. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.